All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good night from wherever you are from every part of the world. My name is Shondip, and I'll be your host for today's MESS-MUSA Connect. Now, before we go any further, let me take the honor to introduce to you to our amazing, wonderful, handsome, beautiful panelists for today evening and today night. Now, let me start with the panelists from the Malaysian campus.
Right, so hi guys, I'm Jia Chen, or you guys can call me JQ, and I'm your school rep for SOE in Malaysian campus. Passing on to you, Sue.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Suren, or you can call me Sue to keep things simple. And I'm your female rep from Musa School of Engineering.
All right, thank you guys so much. And now I'll be introducing to you guys the the representatives from the Clayton campus.
G'day everyone. My name's Marco. I'm the Vice Pres of MESS from Clayton, and I'll pass on to Alana.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alana. I am the Industry Director for MESS. Yeah.
All right. It's great meeting everyone here, and I hope you guys are excited as I am for what's coming next. Now, before we begin, I want to get to know our panelists just a little better. So, can I get a fun fact from every single one of them? Let's begin with Alana. What's a fun fact do you want to share about yourself that you think other people might find interesting?
My fun fact is that I have two pet ducks. I don't know if that's common in Malaysia, but it certainly isn't here.
Well, that's very interesting indeed. How about you, Marco?
Oh, you really put me on the spot here.
Well,
I study Spanish as well as engineering. Just for lols, just for fun. I'm not Spanish, if people are wondering. Just thought it would be a bit of fun.
that's very interesting indeed. How about Suwan?
All right, my fun fact is actually me and JQ, we share the same like birthday. Yes. It's a crazy coincidence, yeah. When we found out, we were like, seriously? Yeah.
Well, that's a crazy coincidence. So, JQ, what about you?
All right, thank you, Sue, for taking away the thing that I wanted
I
to
knew
say.
it.
Oh, okay, never mind. But fun fact about me is I'm currently detoxing from coffee right now. Almost going into a caffeine withdrawal symptoms, but yeah, I think I'll function pretty much okay throughout the entire live stream lah.
All right, you guys are one heck of a crowd. All right, so now we'll be moving forward to see what the differences are between these two student bodies. So let me begin with the Monash School of Engineering. So the representatives, you may have the floor.
All right, so what Musa School of Engineering representatives do is we basically support and represent all Monash Malaysia School of Engineering students. This applies like both externally and internally. And of course, we also like discuss any complaints and also suggestions that our students might have with like higher authorities. And we also act as like your student representatives during the academic progress committee hearing and student misconduct hearing. In addition to that, Musa School of Engineering representatives, we also organize like academic, industrial, charity, and team building events for all school engineering students in order to like enrich students' experience. Our committee actually like changes every year, and so far there isn't like a single complete team meetup yet this year due to some of our team members still being in like other countries. Yeah, so that's all from me.
All right, thank you so much. How about from MESS? What about you guys?
Yeah, we function a little bit differently to the Musa School of Engineering. We're not part of, well, the Clayton equivalent of Musa is the MSA. We're not a division of the MSA, but rather our own club, which falls under the clubs and societies body at Monash. And so for the most part, we organize a lot of different events, social events, industry events, academic support. We run Fame, which is a mentoring program for first years. We run a series of mid-semester surveys called CEFs, which kind of is to get change in units or get feedback on units before the semester's done, to implement any changes that need to be had before you're out of there, and it doesn't matter too much because you don't care anymore. We're also currently the largest club on campus, And similarly, yeah, we have an AGM every year in which the committee does a full changeover. And that's all for me. Yeah.
Marco, you mentioned something about Monash Student Association. May I ask, like, is there like an engineering representative within MSA, or are you the one? Is MESS the ones representing students in engineering students as a whole in Monash, Malaysia? Just curious about this.
Yes, it's kind of a difficult question to answer. There's not an engineering representative on the MSA, not one specific engineering representative. The MSA kind of just represents the entire student
I
body,
see.
and we represent all engineering students. It becomes a bit more blurred because there are a lot of engineering clubs on Clayton campus. Like we have MESS is the overarching body. We are the one that represents everybody, or all engineering students who are in undergrad and now postgrad as well. But there are also engineering clubs for every single different specialization. So there's a lot of different ones, but yeah, there is no individual like engineering representation on the MSA.
Ah, I see, I see. So it functions sort of like our MAMEC, right? Because for us, right, we have a club called Monash University Malaysia Engineering Clubs, and they are sort of like an umbrella club for all of the engineering-based clubs like mechanical engineers, IMechE, IChemE, and I think EA Engineers Australia also has a branch in Monash, right? So do you guys also take over as like an umbrella club for these organizations?
Like yes and no. But all these clubs are kind of actually, well, actually not yes and no, just no. All these clubs are independent. There is an Engineers Australia club, Monash, all like like I said, the specialization specific ones, MAMEC, SMUS, etc., etc. So we're just kind of another representative body that applies to all engineering students, regardless of what they study, what specialization stuff they study. But all the engineers Australia and stuff are their own independent bodies as well.
I see, I see. Right, passing on to you, Sean.
All right, thank you for the insightful talk about the differences as well as the similarities you guys share. But what about the structure itself behind MESS and MUSA? How about we start with MESS? What about like the organizational structure behind MESS? Since you guys are a much more larger group of people.
Yeah, we're pretty big, and we've gotten a lot bigger over since 2019. Basically, currently we're a committee of 35. No, yeah, 35. I was about to say 36. 35 people. 29 of which are elected at at our AGM, and then we have 4 first-year reps and 2 second-year reps as well. We have a pretty big executive. So Grace is our president, and then falling underneath her, there are 7 of us. So there's our secretary. Alana's our industry. We have our academic and social portfolios as well as your vice president and your wellbeing and equity director. Um, each of the portfolios kind of, it's a little bit self-explanatory on what they look after. The social director looks after the social portfolio. That includes all our kind of like major events, things like Mess Ball. We just had cocktail night a few weeks ago, which popped off, was sick, has won best event 3 years in a row, and it will win it this year again as well. The industry director looks after the industry portfolio, which again, that's about like network connections, industry events, things like Biz with Engineers, which is coming up in next week, as well as Industry Night, our careers guide, all that stuff. Our academic director is in charge of, for the most part, Fame, which, as I said before, is our mentoring program for first years. But also I mentioned CEFS, that survey. That's also looked after in the academic portfolio. And a recent addition, a new addition this year, is the Wellbeing and Equity Director, which is just about fostering inclusivity in everything that we do. And part of their role is creating events that are a bit different from other things that we've done that aren't necessarily alcohol centered, and they're not industry events. They're just social events, but they're a bit more chill. And we did a seminar earlier this semester as well, but it's also been a process of, like creating a guide on how to create Facebook events so that they're inclusive and accessible for every different person, regardless of how able-bodied they are or anything like that. I look, as the vice president, I look after the general portfolio, so that includes our gen reps who just help out with this and that, as well as our fairly newly recruited first year reps and the second year reps. And yeah, our secretary, the admin portfolio kind of does their own thing a little bit, but the secretary looks after our two marketing directors and our publication or marketing officers and our publications officer, who all the stuff that goes up on our Facebook that you see there, our lovely, wonderful publications officer creates all that artwork. And yeah, all the amazing posts and stuff you see put up on Facebook are all managed by our two overworked marketing officers.
All right, thank you so much for that insightful talk about the MESS structure. Now I'm also curious to hear about what about the Musa SOE structure?
Right.
What is it for you guys? Yeah.
All right, I think I'll cover this lah. Okay, so for the Musa SOE structure, as much as I would like to say that it's as large as MESS, sadly I can't. Actually, it's just a 12-man team composed of 2 reps and 8 departments lah in total. So all in all, we have a 12-man team operating the entire Musa SOE department. TLDR is sort of like an overworked department lah, not gonna lie, but so far we're managing quite well. So we have 8 departments. The first 2 departments will be the secretary and the treasurer, and as the name implies, they will be handling the administrative work as well as our financial stuff. For our secretary, she will also be preparing the business reports that we will be presenting towards during Monash Student Council meetings, where it will be broadcasted to the entire school. Next, we also have the publicity side, in which she and the designers will be focusing on all the publicity designs and marketing designs of our department. Next, we also have our events department, which is composed of head of external events and head of internal events. Fun fact, our host right now is part of our head of internal events, and we have 2 which are currently operating this live stream at the moment. Okay, so they are in charge of coordinating all the events that we have, and one is our live stream today. Yeah. Next, we have our last department, which I think is probably one of the most complicated departments as well, which is our public relations department and also our industry engagement department. So our public relations department, right, he will be coordinating something similar to what Marco mentioned, which is the FAME program. In Malaysia, we call it the Hello Buddies Mentorship Program, in which it's a 5-week program where the seniors in MUSA SOE, the seniors in SOE will be guiding the first-year students in how to survive their first 5 weeks of classes during their freshman period. Next, the public relations also handle a program called the Year Representatives, in which for each discipline, we have 6 disciplines in total. Each discipline will have around 3 representatives representing year 2, year 3, and year 4, and they will be handling comments or feedback from the students and passing it on to the staff, passing it on to the teaching staff during a meeting called SSLC meeting, or Student Staff Liaison Committee meeting. And they are also sort of like a direct pathway between the course directors and the head of departments and also the students. And last but not least, which is our industry engagement. So our industry engagement head, which he will be in charge of liaising with industrial companies, sort of what Alana is doing at the moment. He will be liaising with companies, trying to get them to join our resume bank, in which our resume bank is promoted to students, especially in their last year or their penultimate year, so that they can apply for internships or even apply for jobs when they graduate. Other than that, right, our industry engagement head also directly liaises with with MAMEC, who to hold industrial events such as career fairs, or like an industrial event that we have coming up, which is industrial event coming up at the end of the year, which in collaboration with School of Information Technology. Yeah, and that's basically the Musa SOE structure that we have for now. It's similar to MESS, but smaller due to the lack of manpower.
I have a question,
Yeah.
JQ. Is your mentorship program, is that compulsory for all first year students to participate in, or is that kind of optional and if they want to do it, they can? Because ours, it only started back in 2019 and originally it was quite small, only had, 100 people out of 1,000 people per year, and it was opt-in, whereas as of the last couple of years, it's become just uniformly applied across all first year students. So they're automatically put into the program to participate in, and they all automatically get mentors.
Oh, our mentorship program is based on the first come first serve basis because we don't have like a constant supply of mentors on hand. So we have to recruit our own mentors. And once we have recruited our mentors, we will then open registration for the mentees to apply, and we will assign their particular mentors for that student. So I would say if we have around 80 students per semester, we would have around 20 to 30 mentor and mentee pairs. So it's not really compulsory due to the lack of manpower as well, but we have like a steady stream over 1/3 of the student community. Yeah. Right. I think I can pass it on back to Sean.
All right, thank you, Musa SOE, for your detailed explanation on the organizational structure. And now, moving on from the structure itself, I would like to talk more onto the funds allocation and scholarship for both student bodies. So for this one, I would like to call upon MESS to begin first. So MESS, your floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. So MESS gets its funding from a couple of different sources. We have funding from faculty and from clubs and societies, and we also get funding from our sponsorship and through our sponsorship drive as well. So to start off with, we get money from clubs and societies. That's like the governing body for all the clubs and societies at Monash Clayton, and they provide us with different grants for different things throughout the year. So essentially what happens is our treasurer and our assistant treasurer will liaise with and apply for different grants for different things. So for example, we were able to apply and we received a grant to run our first year's camp earlier this year. And essentially what that does is allows us to run that event, which we usually, need a little bit of extra funding for so that we can put on a great camp for our first year students. We also got a grant for orientation week to be able to put on different events so that our members can get the most out of, their time at uni and we can put on great events for them. We also do get a little bit of funding from the Monash Engineering faculty as well. Usually that's just a lump sum of money and then we allocate that as we see fit. So for example, a large portion of this funding will go towards the FAME Mentorship Program that Marco has already spoken about, just because we see that as somewhat like something really valuable and it helps us, create engagement with the first year students, but also helps them transition into uni really smoothly. And then we also get funding for different portfolios as well. So for example, we've allocated a certain portion of our faculty money towards the new wellbeing and equity portfolio, just so that we can get that off the ground really get that up and started. So that's kind of the fund allocation that we get from faculty and from clubs and societies. The second part of our funding comes through our sponsorship drive, which is what I, as the industry director, am directly involved with. So essentially what happens is every year we will run we'll begin our sponsorship drive in around October, November time. And what that involves is reaching out to our database of approximately 300 companies, asking them if they would like to sponsor us as a student society for the year. The way that kind of works is, they give us money and we allocate that money to running industry events, putting together our careers guide, which is a comprehensive resource that includes money about, different companies that we might work for, provides information about, how to write a resume, how to get that job, and gives you general tips and tricks related to industry. And in return, I guess companies are able to come along to our industry events to network with our members, which provides good exposure for them and increases brand recognition. And we're also able to advertise different roles and positions and opportunities that they have at those companies to our members as well. So it's a very mutually beneficial arrangement that we have. And yeah, it really provides us with the funds and the means to put on great events across all portfolios throughout the year.
All right, thank you so much for that detailed explanation as well. So now I would like to open the floor to Musa SOE.
All right, thanks, Sean. So basically, Musa School of Engineering, we get our main funding from the Faculty of Engineering, and as the name can tell, Musa, we also get our fundings from Musa itself, and most of our fundings definitely go towards like go back to the students in terms of like the events and everything that we plan. Yeah. So we also try to make like our events like free of charge or close to it in order to encourage like students to join into the event, since we do understand like the importance of like social events in enriching students' uni experience. And we also have like a centralized sum for the whole year and not per event, hence the need for us to actually do budget proposal at the start of the year so that we make sure that we don't overspend throughout the whole year. So what we did will be perhaps we'll come up with like a list of events that we are going to plan for that year. And then we'll only then decide which event falls under like Faculty of Engineering funding or like Musa's funding. Yeah. And from then on, we will budget accordingly and submit the budget proposals for it to be approved. Yeah, and stuff like that. So in terms of sponsorship, Musa School of Engineering currently do not have like a fixed sponsorship vendor that we can approach freely. Yeah, and it is something that we can definitely look into in the near future though. Yeah, so that's all from me. Back to you, Sean.
Maybe you can, just cutting in, Sean, maybe you can get some advice from MESS on how they approach
Oh.
like companies to get sponsorships.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, because that was one of the key problems that we were facing, like not enough sponsors in the sense that don't know how to approach them and don't know how to get it in the first place.
Yeah, I would say that we are slightly inexperienced in that sense of getting sponsorships. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like the way that we typically like to approach that is we figure out what we can offer companies first and foremost, because at the end of the day, that's what they're really interested in knowing. I think one of the things that we try to do is we create like a strong emphasis on the fact that we're connecting them with their future employees. Obviously, engineers are in high demand. Engineers from Monash are. It's so valuable for companies to be able to connect with your members. So that's what we try to push. That's what we try to convey. And I guess the way we do that is through several means. For example, we're able to advertise for them. We're able to get them to physically meet students at our networking events. And I think if you really put together a strong proposal like that, companies will be more than willing to give you guys a shot, which will be really good for you and for them.
All right.
I'd also just add as well. I'm like, it's hard. Like we've had a number of sponsors for. I don't even know when our sponsorship started, but it's been going for quite a while. And this is actually our best year yet. We got a bunch of new sponsors thanks to Alana's like tremendous work. But it's definitely not something that's easy. And I think at other clubs as well, not just engineering clubs, but other clubs at Monash, are looking into expanding their sponsorship drive kind of thing, and expect magnificent results from in their first year, and it's just like not the case. And one of the things is like once you've got a few sponsors, obviously more sponsors are attracted to you because they're like, oh well, if all these other people are sponsoring them, there must be something worthwhile, so it definitely starts off with just like a handful, but ramps up really well. So yeah.
Right. Right.
Alright.
Thanks so much for the advice. I think you can learn a lot from MESS. Yeah. Passing on to you,
Thanks.
Sean.
All right, thank you guys for the interesting conversation about fund allocation and sponsorship. Now, I believe our fellow viewers would really like to know about the two different campuses because we have a variety between the Clayton and Malaysian campus. So, to kickstart this virtual campus tour, I would like to invite MESS to showcase the Monash Clayton campus tour. So, the Clayton representative, you may take it from here.
Yeah, sure. Alrighty, let's move on to the next slide and we'll get our tour started. Alrighty, so probably not the most exciting photo, but here is one of the few entrances to Monash Uni Clayton campus. Our campus in Clayton is quite large, so I think we've got quite a few different entrances where people can enter from different main roads depending on where they live and how they get to uni. We've got parking near all the entrances as well, which makes it super easy for you to drive into uni, park your car, and then go to class. Yeah, which is also really handy. Next slide. Has it moved? Yeah, okay, cool. So speaking of parking, here in the photos, you can see the N1 car park, which some of us like to call the engineering car park, based on its proximity to the engineering building, which you can see in the distance in the photo in the center of the slide. Parking at Monash is paid, so we have to pay to park here, but it's pretty cheap. We're pretty lucky that we have such accessible parking and that we have so many parking spaces all around campus because, as I said, Clayton campus is pretty big. So if we only had one parking lot right at the top, you know, it'd be a bit of a trek to all the other buildings. So yeah, students park in whichever car park they like based on where they need to go for that day. And they pay by the hour as well. So we have an app. You just start it when you start parking, press stop when you leave, and it will charge you about $3 per day, which is pretty decent. Just for those of you in Malaysia campus who have done Eng 1001, in the middle image, we can see the proposed site for that bridge that you would have been building. So from, you know, where the person taking the photo is standing over to the engineering building in the distance there, that was the proposed. Yeah, not much more to say about that one. Moving on. Okay, cool. Not sure if my internet is really bad, but yeah, that's all right. Cool. I think one of the more interesting things that we'll be able to show you today are the different engineering buildings and labs that we have on campus. So again, the one that you can see in the middle of the slide is one of the main engineering buildings, which is close to the engineering car park. Inside that, you've got different classrooms where, you know, you might have lectures or tutorials, pretty standard stuff. You can also see on the left-hand side of the screen, so the picture on the bottom, that's taken in our Woodside building. So that's a pretty big building, which is pretty new as well. It's a really great facility, and in that building, we've got lots of really modern classrooms. We've also got workshops, lecture theatres, and we've also got like design studios as well that have 3D printers and laser cutters and things like that, where you can like build things and use them. Yeah. In the top left photo, we have a photo that's taken inside Monash Makerspace. So Makerspace is like a designated area where students who are part of a student team are able to go and work on the different projects that they are completing within that team. In case you don't know, a student team is basically like a team that has a specific focus. So for example, Monash Motorsport, they build cars and compete in different like racing competitions. UAS, uncrewed aerial systems, I think. They build planes and drones and things like that, which is pretty cool. And then hopefully get them to launch. And yeah, all these different teams work in inside this designated space, which is pretty cool. It's got a lot of machines, tools, and other facilities. Yeah, moving on. We've now got our libraries here. In this one, you can see 2 of our different libraries that we've got. And yeah, the libraries are the preferred study space for lots of students at Monash University. As you can see in the photo on the left, there are all these tables and spaces where students can study collaboratively, which is great if you're working on like an engineering team project, for example. You can also just sit there, have a chat while you study as well with your friends if you like. But in contrast to that, you know, sometimes you might not be in the mood for a chat, or you might need to really drill down and focus. There are also quiet spaces in the library where, you know, you're not allowed to talk. So it's a lot easier to focus in those areas. Our libraries also have things like printers, computers that you can use if you need to run like special software. And there are also books and textbooks that you can borrow as well if you don't want to purchase a textbook just for one unit. The library that I like to go to best, and I think I speak for a lot of engineering students at Monash Clayton, is the Hargrave Andrew Library, which you can see on the right side of the screen. That one's pretty close to a lot of the engineering buildings as well. So naturally, that's our choice. We go there if we want to study or work on team projects. Moving on. Cool. There's also other options if you want to find another quiet space to study. For example, on the slide, you can see a photo of the 24/7 study lab, basically a room where you can go. There are tables, chairs, rooms inside it and things like that, where you can just go to study. Dotted around campus as well are other little meeting rooms that you can book if you want to work in a quiet space or if you want to work within a team and not disrupt other people. Student lounges around the campus as well. So for example, the science students have the science student lounge where students can go to study if they wish.
Alana, what's the latest you've stayed on campus before?
I personally haven't stayed at campus late at all, like maybe 8. What about you, Marco?
No, to be honest, probably not that late either. Maybe like 10 or 11 once, I feel like.
Actually, I have a question, right, Marco? How long, like, what time does the university campus close?
Well, this is an interesting question because theoretically you can, because it's humongous and is all like open. It's basically its own little town. You can walk through it at any time of, you know, the night. I've walked through campus at 3 a.m. Obviously you can't get access into all the buildings. A lot of them are locked. I imagine pretty much all of them are locked at that time, except maybe the 24/7 study lounges. But if you just want to walk around campus in the outdoor areas, there's literally nothing stopping you ever. You can go there on a public holiday at 3:27 a.m. and you can walk through and have a look at everything at the very least. You just can't go inside the buildings.
I see. Wow. So it's like a small. Oh, it's. Okay. I'm trying to imagine how big the Monash Clayton campus is at the moment.
Huge. It's literally the postcode that it resides in is only for the Monash University Clayton campus. Like it has its own postcode. And I reckon to walk from like the front where the bus loop is all the way to the back, it's a good like 10-minute walk close to. And then
Yes, yes.
walking from like the side to the side, I honestly couldn't tell you because I keep finding out that it stretches further and further. This is my 5th year at uni and I discovered buildings that I had no idea existed. Apparently the vice chancellor has a little house on campus somewhere and there's a pool in there as well. But I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. It's somewhere.
We might need a tour if we do want to attend our graduation convocation at Clayton. Might need a tour guide to bring us there.
big time. It's so confusing. It's actually so
Yeah.
confusing.
Right. Right. Passing back to you, Alana.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's the study region. Now, I guess moving on to the cafeteria. We're pretty lucky at Monash. We've got lots of different spots where you can go grab lunch, dotted around campus. So there's one up the top near the engineering buildings. There's one more central, which we call Campus Centre. And in all these spaces, there are lots of tables and chairs, kind of like a cafeteria or a restaurant, I guess, where you can sit, have lunch, meet up with people. Yeah, as you can see in the left photo, it does get pretty busy around lunchtime, which is great. You know, you walk around and you'll see someone you know, stop, have a chat, which is nice, like a nice little break between classes. And we're pretty lucky to have so many different options available to us on campus. I think if we move on to the next slide, we've also got something related to food. Yeah, food locations. So these two photos, as I mentioned, are located in Campus Centre, which is right in the middle of campus, and it's like a central meeting point for students. You can see rolled Guzman y Gomez. Not sure if you guys have those chains in Malaysia, but they're pretty popular with students. We've got Vietnamese food and Mexican food, and then within Campus Centre and around the campus as well, we've got lots of different options. So we've got like Chinese food, Japanese, Italian, things like fish and chips, which is great as well. If you don't feel like spending money and buying lunch, we've also got microwaves, hot water taps for making like instant noodles as well, if you like. So those are also pretty popular with the students because buying lunch every day can get pretty pricey. Yeah, cool. And then quickly, we've got the Monash Merchant, which is kind of like our supermarket on campus, located near the residential halls. So people living on res in the student accommodation on campus can come do their shopping without having to leave the campus and go to one of the supermarkets further away. As you can see, it's pretty well stocked, which is really great. Yep, cool. Public transport. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the public transport access to Monash Uni isn't amazing. As you can see here, we've got like the bus loop, which is, you know, if you take a bus to uni, it'll drop you off here right at our doorstep, which is really good. But the closest train station is about a 20-minute walk away, 25-minute walk. So we're not really well connected in that means. We also don't have tram access to campus. I don't think you have trams in Malaysia, but they're pretty popular form of public transport here. You can't access Monash via tram, so buses are your best bet. But yeah, not as well connected as we would like to be, unfortunately. Cool. Again, just quickly whizzing through, we've also got like a sporting precinct on one end of the campus, which is pretty good. We've got lots of facilities there. We've got a pool, we've got sports fields, we've got a gym. You can sign up for memberships to do classes and just use the gym freely if you want, which is pretty popular with people who live on campus. And then, yeah, we've got the residential centre. So if you come over from Malaysia, it's pretty likely that you might stay in one of these halls of residence. There are different like formats and different, you know, halls, I guess, but the one you can see on the screen is like a studio, I think. You've got a bed, you've got your desk, a little kitchen, and your own ensuite bathroom, which is pretty good as well.
One quick question for the residential offices, the residential homes, right? Do they support like doing sharing rooms or is it all studios?
I'm not sure, Marco, do you know?
I don't think there's any sharing rooms. I think they're all individual ones. And as far as I know, some of them are not as nice as the one pictured in this picture here. Like this one has an ensuite and a little kitchenette. Some of them are literally like a little square room with a bed and a desk, and the kitchen and bathrooms and stuff are communal. It depends, but yeah, I don't think there is any like shared accommodation on campus. It's all single
I
rooms.
see, I see. Right.
Cool. Again, just quickly, we have a MESS office pictured here. It's a little room, but we love it. It's got everything we need. So we've got a toasty machine, a microwave, a fridge, and then, you know, little seats and tables where we can do work or just hang out. The purpose of the MESS office is basically a place where engineering students and our members can advice, just stop by for a chat, use our microwave, whatever they want to do. It's a space that we share with all engineering students. It's not just for the MESS committee, which is really nice too. Cool. And then, yeah, finally, our personal favorite thing about campus might just be the barbecues that we have. So they're usually held on a Thursday, and what we do is we cook up a feast. We've got vegan schnitzels and sausages, and these barbecues are pretty cool. They're free to anyone. You just come along, grab a snack, grab a schnitty, and yeah, it's just overall a good time. Yeah, we love them. Yep, fantastic.
All right, thank you so much. That was very interesting indeed. Now I'll be passing on the floor to the Malaysian campus too. So the Malaysian,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. All right, Shandip, can you move on to the next slide? Right, so okay, so this is our entrance. When you come in here, as you can see, we're right now still in the endemic phase, so we have tents over here for people to scan and to sanitize themselves before they enter into the Monash campus. And once you're going into the university itself, you'll be greeted with the Monash logo over here. So nothing much, it's just like a staple that we have to go through every day when we go to campus itself. Sean, can you move on to the next slide? And with regards to parking, we actually have around 4. We used to have 4, but right now one of it is sort of downsized to around 100 cars a day, if I'm not mistaken, right, Suan?
Yes,
Around
yes,
100 cars, right?
Mm.
But speaking in terms of previous years, we used to have 4 parkings. One that is on the left side of, one is on the right side of uni, which is a free parking in itself. One is connected to the bus station that is in front of Monash University Malaysia campus, and it's not free. If I'm not mistaken, it's around 6 ringgit a day. And there's also another parking that is beside on the left side of campus, which costs around 2 ringgit a day. And we also have the visitor car park that is inside the campus in itself. So I would say when the municipality told us that they are taking away the car park, right, I think a lot of students complain about this issue, because as a lot of students actually drive to campus instead of taking public transport. So I can't say much on that. I just wish that they will someday return us the car park. I'm not sure when, but someday. Right, Sean, next slide, please. Okay, so we have in Monash University Malaysia campus, we have one building that is also dedicated towards engineering, to the engineering faculty. There's 5 levels in total. So the first level is for the civil students, in which all the heavy machinery and labs are placed out, because it's a more massive kind of structure that is needed. So that's why it's located in level 1, ground floor level. And in level 2 is for the electrical and ECSE units. So the computer systems lab, which I think the school is very proud of, which is the remote lab, and also the electronics lab is also located in level 2. And for level 3 and level 4, it will be the mechanics and controls lab, tailored specifically for mechatronics and also the mechanical students. And lastly, we also have level 5, which is the chemical labs for bioprocessors and nanotechnology, right, Suan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why JQ is asking me that question is because I'm from chemical engineering. Yeah.
Right. We also have some computer labs for software students, but technically they more or less go to building 9, which is for the SOIT student or School of Information Technology students for their computer labs. Personally, my own favorite lab is the electronics lab, partly because I'm taking analog electronics at the moment. All right, Sean, next slide, please. And for Monash Malaysia, we have only one library, sad to say, but it's located in Building 2, and it's a 4-level facility. For the first floor, it will be more or less the printers and computers where students can go and print their stuff and access the campus, the ITS services. For level 2 and level 3 onwards, oh, okay. For level 2 and level 3 onwards, it will be what we call the quiet zone, where students will be there to study quietly. We also have another facility called the Hive, which is located in level 4. It's not directly connected to the library, but it's above the library where students can have their group discussions and so on and so forth in that particular space. Okay, next. All right, for study regions, we have quite a few actually. So we have the first that is shown in this slide is called the Open and Work Learning Center, or OWL for short, in which it functions more or less like a group gathering or group meeting facility. We also have two bridges across that's connecting building 6 and building 5, if I'm not mistaken, which is called the Mind Link and also the Idea Link, and it's like a closed space for group meetings lah. Next. And with regards to food, we have a cafeteria in which there's around, if I'm not mistaken, there's 5 shops. But due to the abundance of food in Malaysia, you know that Malaysians do like their food, right? We also have a lot of food stalls outside the campus, which is located near Bandar Sunway. And yes, we also have a coffee area, which is called Mad Alchemy, in which the coffee I think is pretty okay. Never tried most of it, but the ones that I order is pretty okay. All right, next please. And we also have a mart but it's located within the student residences instead of inside the unit itself due to space issues. That's why they have to relocate the mart into the student residence. Yeah. Next. All right. In terms of public transport, I would say the municipality did a good job with regards to public transport, in which we have a bus transit line which connects from multiple stations all the way from multiple regions around Bandar Sunway all the way to Monash University, Malaysia. But other than the bus rapid BRT line, right, we also have shuttle buses that connects from places that is not connected towards the Sunway City, sorry. Bandar Sunway is Sunway City for short. Sorry, I'm too used to the Malaysians' way of speaking Bandar Sunway. But we also have a shuttle bus that connects students from the university itself all the way to a shopping complex that is called Sunway Pyramid. That's located around like a 15-minute walk. So if people are lazy to walk all the way there, that's the shuttle bus that connects them from the university itself. Next, please. All right. In terms of recreational areas, we have we have 4 sports facilities. The first one is the basketball court. The second one is the futsal court. Sad to say, both of them right now are under renovation. But if I remember correctly, they will be open for booking soon now. So we look forward to that. And we also have the field where students play football there. And we also have the rock climbing wall, which is located in the middle of the campus itself. Next. Oh, sorry. We are going to residential. Okay. I forgot to mention for the sports center, right? We actually also have a building that it's for indoor sports. So in that sports, right? In that center itself, we have a badminton court, a gym. It's a gym, and for the Monash Sports Center student lounge, we also have pool tables and ping pong tables where students sometimes go there and chill for a while. Next, please. With regards to residential center, the one nearest to the campus itself is SMR or Sunway Monash Residence.
Yeah,
but I think they changed their name to
rename it.
Waterfront Residence already. But that's not the only residential center. We also have SUR or Sunway University Residence, which is located around 5 to 10 minutes away from the campus itself. Yeah. For the SMR, right, it's more or less like a for the bathrooms and the kitchen, it's all communal, and we have like for the ensuite similar to Clayton, there's an ensuite room but it costs more.
Yeah, and definitely we do have like twin sharing rooms here, which is unlike what you all mentioned just now for Clayton. Yeah, and that summarizes it basically.
Right, Sean. And this is our office. We don't have a fixed closed space for all of us, so we are sharing this particular office that you see at the moment with the six other schools. So on a bad day, it will be really cramped, but on a good day, we have all the space to ourselves.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm currently actually in the office. Yeah.
Yes, as you can see by the flag behind Sue.
Yeah, if you all can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So towards the other students that is looking at the stream, we always welcome students to come to our office and come and chill with us lah. So don't be afraid to approach us. Yeah, short advertisement for now. Right. Next slide, please. All right. Personal favorite. Sue, do you want to take over this?
So for my personal favorite, it would be like the rooftop. The rooftop is like actually a very great place for like you to take pictures, and you oversee actually like Monash, and from the rooftop itself, which is like located at the right side on the picture, you can overlook like the cafeteria and Monash basically. Yeah. And JQ, how about you? Your personal favorite?
I'm a bookworm in itself, so I would say my personal favorite is the electronics lab. Yeah, don't spend too much time outside from the labs actually. All right, next slide, please, Sean. Right, I think that's all from the Monash Malaysia campus tour. So passing back to you, Sean.
All right, thank you so much for both of your in-depth tour of the universities. I would say for myself, if our Musa office had a microwave, that would be my favorite spot. Still waiting on that. I see MESS.
Technically,
Okay.
Sean, we have a microwave outside the office. You can
Yes,
use it.
we do have actually.
Okay, I look forward to make that my favorite spot now. All right, so moving on, it will be a few questions from myself to the panelists. So this is open floor. I'll ask the question. Whoever would like to answer, just unmute your mic and go ahead. So now the first question is, what do you wish you knew as a first year, transitioning from high school to university or from foundation to university? Like, what are your inputs on this? The floor is open to everyone.
I'll jump in and get us started. I wish that I knew how hard it would be to make friends at uni. As sad as that sounds, it was. I think a lot of people are surprised at how difficult it can be, especially. I don't know what the comparison's like in Malaysia, but most people who attend Monash live at home still, and they're all just from Melbourne. They live at home, etc., etc. And so you move from this one place when you're at school and you spent 7 hours a day, 5 days a week with the same people, and it was really easy. And then you go to uni and you spend one class a week for like 2 hours. Engineering is a bit better than other degrees, to be honest, because you have group projects and stuff, and your 3-hour labs or prac classes can be really good for that. But it can be really challenging because, if you only spend 2 hours a week with the same people, you have to make an effort to go and catch up and be their friend and talk to them, and etc., etc. It's not as effortless. And I my first year at uni, I wasn't actually studying engineering. I studied law commerce, and I struggled with it a lot. And that was a lesson that I learnt I learnt pretty well when I changed into engineering, and then I really made an effort and have an amazing time and an amazing group of friends, lots of amazing friends in engineering now. So yeah.
Right. I would say I would agree with Marco on getting to know friends during my first year. Because during our first year, right, for me and Sue, we were in the first batch of COVID students. And connecting with people was sort of like a really hard thing. Because, how to say? Yeah.
Because we actually miss out on like the orientation and all as well. Yeah, so orientation, it looks like real fun, but unfortunately for like me and JQ, our intake, we did miss the orientation. Yeah.
We didn't have an orientation to begin with, but hopefully that changes next semester. Hopefully we can have a physical orientation next semester.
True.
Yeah, so I would say in terms of trying to know people, right, Marco, would you say that sometimes you just have to be thick-skinned and just message or just approach a person that you want to be friends with. Just saying, just asking.
Oh, absolutely. You know, unfortunately, gone are the days of when we were little kids and you would just be like, "Are we friends?" And they were like, "Yeah," and then you just be friends, or like, "Do you want to be friends?" And you just, would love that. Can't do that at the age of 23. You look like a weirdo. Um, yeah, you just got to put yourself out there. That's the biggest tip that I always give to first years. And I'm like, you just got to do everything you possibly can. Just put yourself out there and make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. Because even though you feel a bit stupid, you know, or you might feel a bit overbearing trying to make friends with a person, um, someone has to make the effort because everyone feels the exact same way. So if you're not going to make the effort and they're not going to make the effort, then you both will cruise along by and have no friends. So you just got to do it. You just got to stick it to them and go for it.
I see, I see. Alana, what about you?
Yeah, I guess kind of along the same thread as Marco with regards to putting in effort. You know, now I think one of the biggest changes that I found when I moved from high school into uni is that you become responsible entirely for your learning. You know, in a particular class, there'll be 300, 400 different students, one lecturer, couple of tutors around. They don't know you. They're not going to follow up with you. You know, if you don't come to class one day because you couldn't be bothered, or you know you don't submit an assignment because you know, didn't feel like doing it, they aren't going to chase you up on that, and that's something that you really have to kind of self-motivate yourself to do and put in your own effort to get that work done, because otherwise I guess you fall behind and bad things happen from there. I guess my other thing that I wish I knew was that it really doesn't matter if you don't know exactly what you want to study. Marco mentioned that he didn't even start off doing engineering, and now here he is loving it. My situation's a little bit different, less drastic than Marco's, but I was doing civil engineering, found out that that wasn't for me, and made the switch. You know, even though that puts me a year behind in uni, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You know, uni is a great time. That's all that oldies say. So, yeah, even I guess particularly because we have had quite a lot of COVID interruption in our uni, the longer we can stay, you know, maybe it's not such a bad thing after all.
I see. Yeah, I did. Fair to say, I also had this kind of impulse, just that not sure how is it a good idea to differ from my side. I did have this impulse when we were starting the first year of COVID. Lah. Would you say that also?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that actually, right, for me, because right now we are transitioning to like a hybrid semester, so I actually get to see like my friends physically, and I would say it definitely like makes it easier to make friends because you go to physical classes, your friends are like, or the students are just around you. It's quite easy to like get in touch. Where the online sessions, it's slightly different because I think you all are aware as well, where everyone don't on their cameras and they don't speak and we don't have a chat. Yeah, so actually the first 2 years of like my engineering degree is quite, I would say it's more difficult to make friends, but I did notice like the shift in like the difference between like the hybrid semester and the online semester. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, online sucked. Like I can't even imagine. Like I said, I'm old, so I had a couple years before COVID happened, but can't imagine having started in 2020, and especially if you're someone who doesn't do engineering, you do like a 3-year course, and you spent, you know, a year online, and then we came back for semester 1 last year, was pretty much in person, was pretty much all good. But then semester 2 was back online, and then like you basically only get half of your degree or less
Yeah.
in person, which just
It's
gross.
alright.
I did heard like my friends mention because they are doing like a 3 years degree. So yeah, they spend like 2 years of it like online, and when they come onto campus, their comments is like they aren't really prepared because they're already at final year. And yeah, basically summing up what you mentioned, Marco.
All right, passing back to you, Sean.
All right, thank you guys for answering my question very well. I was actually surprised, I wasn't the only one who felt like it's very hard to make friends and all that on campus. So moving on from that, another question I had in mind: what is fame? FAME.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
for it.
Solana.
So this FAME is the mentoring program that Marco discussed a little bit about before. Essentially, it's, in case you missed it, a program for all first-year engineering students. We have it so that we from high school to university just that little bit smoother, because as we saw in the previous question, it is quite a big jump from high school to university. Lots of things are pretty different. So, in each kind of mentoring group, there will be about 18 to 20 students and 2 mentors which are in their style. And essentially what happens is there'll be a couple of informal catch-ups throughout the first semester of uni, where mentors and mentees will meet, have a chat, see how everyone's going, and the mentors can give advice and answer any questions that the mentees have. FAME is also good. They put on like a couple of other different social events for first years specifically throughout the year, which is cool because that just makes it that much easier for first year students to meet other first year students, which I think JQ and Sue we found pretty tricky given that we started in COVID. But yeah, it's good to see that that's going to be a lot easier for students moving
I
forward.
think we can definitely improve on the Hello Buddies mentorship program that we are having in Malaysia. Because right now it's just mentors approaching mentees and having like casual WhatsApp chats or Telegram chats. But I think we can definitely make it hype it up a little bit more by having like physical meetups or like
Yeah,
barbecue or
that would definitely enhance
Yeah.
the experience. I agree, JQ.
Yeah. We are here to learn. We are here to learn from MESS a bit more. Right. Thanks for the insight on fame. I think we can learn a lot and improve our own mentorship program for the next semester. Right.
All right. That's very interesting indeed. All right. So my next question to you guys, since we are talking about mentorship and we are telling students about where about like mentoring students about their first years. So just give me an insight on the campus itself. Right? What's the best place to study on campus for both locations?
Oh, it's got to be Hal on Clayton. We showed pictures of the libraries before. It's like the STEM. I mean, obviously anyone can go into any of the libraries, but Hal is like the engineering library. And it's bussin'. It's sick. I discovered about 2 weeks ago, once again after far too long at uni, that if you go, because it's kind of like you have to go upstairs to go in it, and like you can't access the ground floor. You have to go upstairs first. And I discovered that once you go upstairs, you can go down back onto the ground floor, and there's a quiet study area, and it's like dead silent, and it's pretty sick. Yeah, finding those like super ridiculously quiet spots is pretty fire. Do enjoy that one.
Oh no, Marco, you just exposed your favorite study spot to your entire student.
That's all right. No, that's fine. I can expose it. I got some other ones I'm keeping close to my chest. So
Okay, so
we're good.
right. For Malaysian campus, right? Because I'm not able to give the best place, but for me personally, I would say that the best place to study might be the Hive quiet zone. Because even though it's just outside, it might be a bit noisy, but inside it's more or less soundproof. Like not able to hear the outside noise from the external side of the Hive lah. But definitely I would recommend the quiet zone of the Hive. Yeah, usually I just study over there as well. How about you, Alana and Sue?
For me, right, my study spot sort of changes from time to time depending on the availability of it. Yeah, so I tried out OWL before, which is a open work and learning space. That's quite nice. Yeah, with I mean, I can chit chat with like friends there and study as well. Yeah, and Hive, like what JQ mentioned, is quite a good place too. Or you can try like the quiet zone in the library. It's very silent there. If you just want to like focus and get your work done. Yeah, that's about sums it up. Yeah. How about you, Elena?
Yeah, mine is going to be the same as Marco's. I think if you ask any engineering student at Monash Clayton, they'd tell you that Hal is their favorite library. It's kind of got the best of both worlds. You know, as Marco mentioned, there are some really quiet spots around, which is good if you want to focus, get work done in and out. But then there are also like collaborative spaces as well, you know, which is good if you want to study with friends or if you're having a meeting. Or doing a team project. So yeah, the best of both worlds. Hal is the place to go.
Wow.
All right. Interesting indeed. So then, moving forward in the realm of studying and all that, right? Since everything is coming back to physical scenarios, we have to study online. It's right, we have to study face to face, not online, and all that. So how do you guys balance your social life and your uni requirements? In the workload, and people saying engineering being one of like the highest workload degrees out there. So how do you guys do it?
So do you want Alana, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. I'm not sure how helpful this will be because I am not gonna lie, not balancing my social life and uni requirements very well. I guess my tip for you would be to use your calendar. Calendar's my best friend, Google Calendar particularly. I think just putting in what you've got going on into the calendar frees up a lot of brain space. So you don't have to like keep track of all the different things and places you need to be. It's kind of all in that one spot, and you can check in on that, get a reminder when you've got something coming up, which is really good. Hopefully someone else can offer some better advice than me. Sue, do you have any good tips or tricks on how you balance your social life and uni?
All right, for me, right, I'm actually currently still adapting as well, but I do agree that calendar is like a very great thing because it helps you keep track. And I admit that I do sometimes forget about like some meetings that I have that I forgot to put into my Google Calendar, and I would forgot about it. But luckily, my friends and teammates are very nice. They will text me and reminded me about it. Yeah, and usually my classes like ends at like 6ish. So my social life, like events for when I'm planning for it, will usually happens like after that. Yeah. So I will spend the day at school, then perhaps go out for dinner or sports with friends. Yeah, after school that is. Yeah. How about you, JQ and Marco?
Marco, do you want to go first?
I was sitting here thinking how I balance my social life and uni requirements, and I'll be honest, I'm struggling, because I am struggling. Right now, I've been completely derailed by mid-sem break. I did zero work over mid-sem break, and I tried to do, because I was like sick and stuff as well, which is my excuse anyway. And I tried to sit down and do a lecture today, and like it literally took me 2.5 hours to do like 25 minutes worth of lectures. It's pretty pathetic. But I suppose otherwise, how do I balance? Oh, I'm a big advocate in doing. I mean, I end up doing work at all hours of the thing, but I usually work fairly productively in the morning. So if I can wake up at like 7 o'clock and get stuck into doing some work, I will do solid amounts of work before lunchtime. My afternoons are right off, but like the morning and the night time during the week, and then just like send it on the weekend and pray that it all works out. How about you,
I would
JQ?
definitely say that I can understand your perspective regarding the lecture videos lah. Having to waste around 3 to 4 hours to settle a 2-hour lecture video, that one I can definitely relate to because that's the exact thing that's happening to me at the moment. Yeah, but kind of the opposite. I feel like I get more productive during the night. So like during the day, if I don't have classes, I will most likely sleep in. But I usually stay up quite late to finish up all my work. And with regards to social life, right? If I'm relating social life with my extracurriculars, I would say I spend in terms of time management. Yes, I do agree with Alana and Sue that like having a planner or calendar is a must, because my memory is a bit limited. I can't keep track of all the dates, so definitely, I do need a planner in itself. Okay, and but in terms of social life, right? Outside extracurriculars and curriculars, I don't really socialize as much as I would like to. So technically, I stay in during weekends in order to catch up all my work. Yeah. I think we need to wrap up as soon as possible. Okay, passing back to you, Sean.
Yeah, okay. So one last question before we get our questions from the crowd. Yeah. So this is more towards how about the Malaysian students from the Malaysian campus going to the Clayton campus. So to MESS, what are your suggestions for newly transferred Malaysian students coming to Melbourne? Like, what do you want to recommend to all these students who might be their first time in a different country, especially?
Yeah, cool. I'll start off with this one, Marco. So I've actually just had a couple of my really good friends who lived in Singapore, so close to Malaysia, move over and start studying at Monash University. And what they said was that when they first got here, it was pretty overwhelming, not because there's like a culture shock, but I think if you're moving out of home, living by yourself in a different country for the first time, that in itself is pretty overwhelming. Then you add on top of that uni and other things and activities that you want to do. There's quite a lot for you to manage there. I think my biggest tip for you and what they've told me has helped them the most is just putting themselves out there and getting involved. I think, being by yourself in some place new, you can feel quite lonely and disconnected just because your family's so far away, your friends are all the way back in Malaysia. If you put yourself out there, join clubs, join different sports, go out, join different events. That's probably your best bet in feeling included, feeling like, you're part of what's going on, and yeah, just feeling less lonely, having a good time and making the most of your time here in Australia instead of, hiding in your room and just studying a bit too scared to get out and meet new people. That would be my advice for you. What about you, Marco?
You said it all, mate. The only thing I would add is that you should come hang out at the MESS office. That's literally it. Come hang out at the MESS office. You'll meet people there. Just harass us. And otherwise, yeah, Alana hit the nail on the head. So back to you, Sharon.
All right, thank you guys so much. That's all the questions from me, but I do have a list of questions from our live viewers. So I'm going to start with the first one. What are your favorite events? Whether you have joined it or whether you have organized it, what are your favorite events?
Marco mentioned before, I think, the social events that MESS has always pop up. They're pretty good. For example, cocktail night, we just had recently was amazing, so much fun. It was really good. And then, we've got MESS Ball coming up in semester 2. I haven't been to one yet because of COVID, but I hear and Marco that's a good one. What about you, Marco?
I was going to say personal fave and very subtle plug coming up like next week, Beers with Engineers. It's the most productive sesh. It's the most productive sesh of the year. You go, you meet industry people, you make networks, and you also get pissed. It's awesome. It's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah.
It's beer is like
Wait, the beer is free.
Yeah.
The beer is sponsored.
Yeah, beer.
The beer is sponsored, is
Sorry?
it?
Yeah, well, it's all paid for and it's a big bar tab, and so it's like $10 for a ticket, and you just drink the night away, and also all the industry reps are there, so it's spectacular. It's awesome.
I have second thoughts about not transferring already. Okay. All right.
What about over
I
at
was
Malaysia?
planning to, but then there are some issues that deterred me from transferring. Right, I mean, from Malaysia's side, I can't say much about the events because technically we didn't have any much physical events as of yet. But I'll just bring up some of the events that I know that was held pre-COVID and which we are planning to revive it as soon as possible in semester 2. So we actually have 3 events, which I feel was quite interesting. The first one is the engineering mathematics competition, in which we held it during the fourth week of semester, if I'm not mistaken, or semester 1. So as the name goes, it's all about mathematics, and the person who is able to contribute most, able to get all of the questions correct, wins. So I would say from an organizer's perspective is to be a little bit sadistic, is looking at students solve all the questions that we made it up for them. I mean, speaking from a organizer's perspective, looking at students rumble their heads looking at the questions that you set up was kind of satisfactory in a sense. Yeah. Right, passing to you, Suwan.
Okay, I'm here contemplating, like, I just noticed that throughout, like, I'm already in year 3, and I think I haven't really joined a lot of events as like a participant. I was busy planning for them, but I would definitely say that for this year upcoming event that I'm very looking forward to would be farm engineering, if that do happens. Yeah, but yeah, fingers crossed it happens. Yeah, and I'm very looking forward to it because it will be like a very engaging event and like treasure hunts where you get to meet like new friends, which is a plus. Yes. Yeah, and also enhance your uni experience basically.
Yeah,
Yep.
more insight on farm engineering, right? It's actually also an SOE tradition in which it's a collaborative event with School of Pharmacy. So students from School of Engineering get together with students from School of Pharmacy, and they basically go through something like a treasure hunt or something like an amazing race sort of setting kind of competition, in which they will try to complete goals and to finish the race in actuality. Okay, and yes, fingers crossed we do get to hold this next semester. Yeah, putting it down onto the live stream already. Right, I think that's all from us, Sean.
I see. That's very interesting. And one more, branching off from events and all that, there's someone that asks, is there any club recommendations for student to join?
Oh, easy. MESS. Join MESS. That's the best club. No other. Don't need to worry your head about anything else. That's the only one that you need.
Marco, are you sure you want to say like that? Later, all the engineering clubs gonna find you.
I mean, look, there are some. We are obviously the best club at Clayton. There are, I suppose, joining student teams aren't clubs, but student teams are always a good time. And joining your specialization specific club, is always really helpful. I reckon this is so kind of left field, so sorry about this, but the skiing club Musk at Clayton and board riders, which are like people who snowboard, surf, skateboard. Those two clubs have the best time. Like they're all mates. It's actually insane. I am jealous because I can't ski. I've never skied in my life. So I've never skied. I've never snowboarded. I can't skate, I don't think. And I haven't tried surfing and would suck at it. But if I could do any of those things, like I would be on those clubs 100% because yeah, they just seem like a blast. They're all mates. They all have a load of fun. Yeah. What about Malaysia? What do you reckon?
Actually, same as you, I would recommend the students to join the subcommittee first before branching off into other engineering clubs. But there is a lot of clubs branching off a little bit from engineering because we've been on the topic of engineering for quite some time already. There are some clubs which have like a dodgeball club and like captain ball, and whenever I see them play in the field, right, I was like, oh my god, it sounds so fun.
Yeah. It looks fun also, actually.
But
honestly.
speaking from a Malaysian perspective, right, I would definitely recommend people to go for the badminton club. Not trying to advertise badminton club in the sense, just that I like badminton a lot. Yeah, I mean badminton is our national sport, so yeah. What about you, Alana?
Yeah, I'd like to echo Marco. MESS, obviously a great club to join. There's something for everyone, which is really cool. And then, yeah, student team, again, a good time. You get lots of hands-on experience through doing those, which puts you in good stead to get an internship or a job later on and develop your special interests to explore in class. I'd also just like to highlight that there are so many other different non-academic clubs at Monash. There's like the Disney Club. There are different like clubs for different countries. So there's probably like a Malaysia club at Monash Clayton. There are different sports clubs as well. And I guess if you have any interest or if there's something you've been wanting to try, university is a place to do that, and there is probably a club for you out there where you can give whatever that is a go.
I see. Wait, there's a Malaysian.
Sorry.
I have a question. What does the Malaysian club do? Yeah. Just asking. Just curious.
So probably similar to a lot of the other like cultural clubs, they have events, sometimes they will get food from that country. So they might get like a Malaysian kind of feast together, where people come and try different Malaysian foods, if they haven't before, or to remind them, of home if they have come from Malaysia. And yeah, just other different social events throughout the year as well, which is pretty cool.
All right. Thanks, Alana. Sean?
Yeah, because I just someone actually asked a question regarding this actually while you guys were speaking, which is what sports you would recommend to Malaysian students going to Monash, Australia?
Oh, just footy, mate. Yay, footy. I don't know. I don't play any sports, so I think this is the sad indictment of graduating school and becoming a university student, is that you kind of stop doing all your hobbies and the things that you once enjoyed, and people are like, "Oh, what's your hobby?" And you're like, "I don't know, going out, drinking." Like it's a bit tragic, but there is a bunch of there's so many sports club. Ultimate Frisbee. Join the Ultimate Frisbee Club. That looks like fun. We had a barbecue a few weeks ago with the Ultimate Frisbee Club League, whatever they're called, and we just chucked some discs around and had an excellent time. It was so much fun, and I was like, damn, maybe I should get into the old Ultimate Frisbee. Why not?
I see, that's interesting. I love the way how the energy just started up very high, went down, and then back high again. That was just a highlight for me. Just saying. All right. So another question that appeared is what kind of entertainment area is there on Clayton campus?
Oh, room in the sports kind of area. I think that's got like pool, foosball, like darts maybe. I don't know what they've got there, Marco. Have you been?
I haven't. I didn't know it was there until someone told me, but you're right. Yeah, in Monash Sport, there's a little sporting room with all the fun games stuff. One of the libraries as well, which is called Surly, which is in Campus Centre, has a bunch of video games and like consoles and stuff, and I'm pretty sure they run Super Smash Bros tournaments out of there as well. So that's a fun little recreation area. Otherwise, what else? There's a theater. There's a little movie room. I don't know if they just randomly run movies in there, but as far as I know, you can book it and run a movie in there, and you can all sit in a little cinema and have a good time watching a movie. Yeah,
it sounds so much fun.
Well, is there surely there's some sick recreation areas at Malaysia as well? Because I mean, you showed the rock climbing wall. Hello.
Oh yeah.
That's epic.
I'm not sure if it's operational at the moment, but once it's operational, I think we will let the students know. But in terms of recreational, other than sports, right, it's not really common in our campus because our university is just like a 15-minute walk away from the shopping complex. So I think all of the recreation activities like skiing, ice skating rink, and the bowling alley and the cinemas are all located at the shopping complex in itself. Right? So I think the university thinks that there's no need to have it within campus, and also partly due to space issues. Yeah. But yeah, I think one of the highlights might be the rock climbing wall, but sadly it's not operational as of yet.
Yeah. But I did saw when it pre-pandemic, I did see a lot of people having fun there. I think there's a rock climbing club. Am I correct, JQ?
Yes, there's a rock
there is
climbing
one.
club.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, one of my bucket lists right before I graduate is I want to climb the rock climbing wall at least.
I know, right?
Right?
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, otherwise you come all the way and they prepare the rock for you and you don't climb it, and it's such gonna be a waste, man. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sean.
All right, that's very interesting indeed. I see the rock climbing wall all the time. I also get very intrigued by it, but sadly it's closed. And another question, which personally for me is quite entertaining, I like to say is the Wi-Fi good in the Clayton accommodations and the Malaysian accommodations? So I would like to hear your answers for this one. I can see smiles on the faces already. So
Um, I think it's good enough. Like it does the job. It works pretty well. I mean, get like as a general rule, Wi-Fi in Australia isn't the best. But I've never
It's
had a
shit.
problem. Yeah, it's not good. Probably very bad compared to Malaysian standards. But I haven't ever had a problem. Like my videos, my lectures load. Um, yeah. What about you, Marco? Have you ever had any problems?
I have no idea what Wi-Fi is like in the residential halls. I don't use Wi-Fi on my phone on campus. Like I used my 3G or 4G or whatever because it's just like unreliable and it always disconnects. I don't know. It works fine on my computer. Maybe it could work fine on my phone, but I don't bother. I just use my data and that gets me through. I imagine the Wi-Fi in Malaysia is way better than it is here, to be honest.
I wouldn't say that as that.
Sandeep, I have one disclaimer to ask you. Do you want the PR answer or do you want the honest answer?
for the sake of today, let's just keep it at PR answer. If you guys would like the more juicy stories, you can find our dear representatives at the respective campus.
Okay, Marco, later I'll share it to you. Okay, but in terms of the campus Wi-Fi, right, I'm actually quite satisfied with the campus Wi-Fi. Till now, every time I have lectures within campus, I have not met like a buffering issue lah. So sometimes I go to school just for the sake of the Wi-Fi. But with regards to the residential hall Wi-Fi, Sue, do you want to give your solemn insight on that?
Okay, so I would suggest all of you that are staying at the residential hall, if you have something important that is due, or you have to do a quiz or online exam, definitely head to the school to do it, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So because the Wi-Fi is more stable in school. Yeah. Okay. That's all from me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, trying our best not to be as savage as we can.
Thank you for letting me to be able to keep my job for coming years. Okay, I believe we have one last question that I can give to you all, which is when is the right time to start looking for relationships? A little bit juicy to end it all today. I mean relation. Sorry, I read it wrong. Internships, not relationships. Apologies. Sorry, apologies. It's my fault. Sorry. Internships, not relationships. That's why I was wondering when.
Relationships, whenever you feel ready, and whenever you feel
Sorry, I've been
you've
alone for
matured
too
enough
long.
and you feel emotionally prepared to handle a relationship, then
Yes,
I
but
reckon.
you know what about internships? Apologies for that.
Maybe I can go first from the Malaysian side. With regards to internship, right, I would definitely recommend you to start looking for it as soon as you start into year two lah. The official internship period for Malaysia is your penultimate year the once you finish your penultimate year, before you transition into year four, you will need to go for industrial training or technically internship lah. And that's where you have to write your reports and submit like logs to your supervisor and for them to approve. And once that's settled, right, only then you can graduate from the campus itself. But for me personally, I did find an internship last year actually when I just finished year two. And the reason being is because as you know lah, COVID, the COVID education, I didn't have much opportunity to touch on like the physical cables and stuff. Like I only started physical wiring this semester in my analog electronics unit. Yeah, but going through that internship, right, I felt like I learned more compared to the COVID education lah, like in terms of practicality and actually looking at what your code does in real life. That's one of the most exciting parts during your internship. Like you write code and you look at it work in real life. That's one of the most satisfying feelings that I can give, speaking from an electrical engineer perspective. Yeah. uh Lana, speaking from an industrial side, do you want to give your insights on this?
Yeah, sure. I think when should you start looking and when you'll get an internship are two different questions. I guess it's probably good to start looking as soon as you can. It's good to see what's out there, before you choose your specialization. So I'm not sure how it works in Malaysia, but at Clayton, we have like a common first year where you do all the different types of engineering. And then from there, you specialize into whichever stream interests you the most. So even in your first year, I reckon it's definitely worth having a look at, what opportunities and what internships are out there, see what piques your interest, and then that can probably inform like which specialization you might want to choose. I think I went to my first industry event last year, so when I was in my second year, and that was pretty good. I mean, the stakes are still really low. You might get an internship, you might not, but at the end of the day, it's okay because you've still got so long in your degree to get those opportunities and to seek out those internships. So yeah, to like sum it all up, start looking as soon as you can. When you'll probably get one, I reckon at somewhere between like your second, third, or fourth year, depending on how long your actual degree is. But yeah, that sums that up.
Just a quick question, right? This is just high thinking, but is it possible for like Monash Malaysia students to apply for an internship in Australia? Is it possible?
I think, it depends on the companies and like working visas and like any kind of specific requirements that they have within their own company. If you wanted to get like a bit more of a detailed breakdown of companies that might have opportunities for international students, I know that our careers guide, so that's on our MESS website, has like a FAQ page right at the back, which has a table. And one of the questions on that table is, are there opportunities for international students? So any company that has a yes in that box, you might be able to score an internship there.
Oh, but does the student have to be physically in Monash, Australia to apply for it, or can they be in Monash, Malaysia and they apply for that company?
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that.
That's probably
Yeah.
depends. That's an excellent
I see.
question. I think nowadays probably not as much because a lot of the internships are going towards like physical, like you have to be in. But I suppose if you have the intention of coming over, but I don't know. These are interesting questions that regard your like your visa to come over as
I see.
well. Because obviously internships aren't necessarily related to the university; they're just like
see.
workplaces. But
Alright, thanks. Because I'm also trying to looking into getting that kind of internship. Planning to for my side. Alright, Sean, passing back over to you.
All right, thank you guys so much for your input on internships. I believe the advice can be also transferred over to relationships if you guys are interested. But moving on from that, I would like to sadly say that we have come to an end of our wonderful session for today. I would like to thank our wonderful panelists for their insightful inputs on everything and as well as showing us what the difference are between Clayton and Malaysia and how similar and how different we are between the borders. And moving on from that, I believe the QR code will be shown right now. So please scan here and give us a feedback. I hope you guys give us a good one. And do not complain about certain grammatical or certain word issues that happened just now. And we would like to thank you so much wholeheartedly to everyone who's with us today. And also I would like to give my personal thanks to all the panelists who are joining us today. And that will be all from all of us. Do check us out on all our social media, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and to get updated by the respective campuses, whether you are in Malaysia or whether you're in Clayton. And that's all from us. Thank you very much. Everyone, say goodbye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Right.
Bye bye.
Thanks.